Late antiquity has to be one of the most dramatic periods of human history. It was a period when age-old traditions became obsolete. Great migrations transformed the world, and Christianity was introduced. Out of the violent shift of power that characterized the period, a single realm managed to thrive and establish itself as a superpower. This new realm, born out of necessity, managed to establish its hegemony over most of continental Europe for over 1,000 years. The origins of this mighty empire trace back to 330 CE, when Constantine the Great declared a new Rome on the site of an ancient Greek trading colony situated along Europe's eastern edge. The name of this ancient Greek colony was Byzantium. In this Liber-Tea episode, we will be looking into one of the most outstanding stories of survival, the 1,000-year epic of the Eastern Roman Empire. We will look at how the Eastern Roman Empire endured the loss of the western half and how it soldiered on, continuing the legacy of Rome through the Middle Ages. At the height of the Roman Empire, it stretched from North Africa to some parts of Asia. The Roman Empire maintained its influence primarily through trade and military might. During the 2nd century CE, the Roman Empire reached the zenith of its influence. This period, which many historians view as the empire's golden age, resulted from its organization, economic might, conquest, and the advancement of arts and culture. The Roman Empire had discovered a way of expanding its territory in a self-sustaining manner. Relative peace, economic prosperity, and internal political stability were the defining features of Rome's golden age. While advancing the empire, Rome ruthlessly exploited the people they subdued and exterminated those who opposed its rule. This earned the empire enemies everywhere. While wars continued to rage on the empire's frontiers, Rome continued to prosper. However, this age of prosperity and relative peace would not last forever. The first signs of trouble manifested in the form of a devastating plague which claimed millions of lives across the empire. Having lived through the COVID-19 pandemic, we have a good understanding of the effects of a plague on the socio-economic standing of a nation. Now, consider the effects of a plague during a time when vaccination or healthcare was non-existent. For Rome, the Antonian plague was just the beginning of its problems. The plague ravaged the empire at a critical period in its history. For instance, industries that benefited from sea trade were seriously devastated, and the Roman military was also weakened considerably. As the effects of the plague reached their peak and dead bodies littered Rome's streets, the utterly incompetent and violent Commodus was installed as emperor. During the 3rd century, things turned for the worst. The Roman Empire entered into a period of chaos, weakening it considerably. Rival generals began vicious wars over who would rule the empire, plunging the weakened empire into a series of self-destructing wars. By the end of the 3rd century crisis, it became apparent that the empire could not be ruled from the decaying city that had incepted it. This period marked the beginning of the steady decline of the Roman Empire. However, just before the empire sank into the ashes of history, a remarkable emperor rose to the throne and instituted changes that rescued it from imminent collapse. Chief among Emperors Diocletian's reforms split the empire into the Western and Eastern Roman empires. Despite the reforms that Emperor Diocletian instituted after his death and that of his co-emperor Maximian, the Western Empire gradually fell back to civil strife and political instability. Finally, in 476 CE, in the reign of Romulus Augustus, the Western Roman Empire collapsed, never to recover again. The Eastern Roman Empire, unlike the Western Empire, was able to protect itself from invaders, as it could easily deploy its military to its frontiers to counterattack. The fall of the Western Empire marked the beginning of a long and prosperous reign of the Eastern Roman Empire, which later came to be referred to as the Byzantine Empire. The capital of the Eastern Roman Empire was located at a strategic position where Europe meets Asia. Nova Roma, as Emperor Constantine named it, was an ancient Greek colony known as Byzantium. Later, in honor of Emperor Constantine, the Eastern Roman Empire's capital would also be called Constantinople. This name endured until the conquest of the empire by the Ottoman Empire in 1453 CE. The advantages of the city of Constantinople were formidable. It is located at the narrowest point of the Strait of Bosporus, where continental Asia was less than a kilometer away by water. From an economic point of view, it was a strategic position that controlled all the trade between the two continents. Additionally, it controlled the shipping traffic that ferried goods from the Mediterranean to the Black Sea and vice versa. More importantly, the swift ocean currents flowing through the Bosporus Strait made it impossible for enemies to attack the empire by sea. The city also benefited from its huge natural harbor, which was protected from the ocean's swift currents. The harbor was large enough to handle thousands of ships. Later, this body of water came to be referred to as the Golden Horn, partly due to the tremendous wealth that flowed through it during the Byzantine Empire. Located between the Sea of Marmara and the Golden Horn, the city of Byzantium, Constantinople, was a hard place to attack. Any person who desired to attack the city would only do so from a single direction. Knowing this, the empire's rulers constructed a fort, which made an attack on the city virtually impossible. Despite its wealth, Byzantium was not always popular. According to historical records, at the height of the Roman Empire, over 1 million people resided within it, while only 40,000 people resided in Byzantium. However, all this changed in 330 AD, when Constantine the Great moved the empire's capital to the city. Immediately, Constantine arrived. He instituted massive construction projects to convert Byzantium into a city worthy of being the seat of the Roman Empire. One of the magnificent buildings constructed during this period was the Hippodrome, which was used to host chariot races. The track of the Hippodrome was 450 meters and could host over 100,000 spectators. Close to this magnificent building was the famed baths of Zeuxippus, which were decorated lavishly with opulent mosaics. Around the same period, Emperor Constantine commissioned the construction of an imposing city wall between the Sea of Marmara and the Golden Horn. This wall effectively closed off the city from attacks. The new city wall was built a great distance from the old one, as Emperor Constantine expected that the city would grow immensely in the years to come. The emperor was right. Constantinople would grow immensely beyond the emperor's wildest dreams in the centuries. While these imposing walls testify to the power and economic might of the Byzantine Empire, they also tell of an increasingly perilous world that the city found itself at the center of. Despite the many challenges the empire faced, it endured and reestablished itself as Europe's principal power. For instance, the Gothic Wars drained the empire's resources tremendously. Additionally, the Justinian plague, which swept across Europe, claimed 30 to 100 million people over 200 centuries. At the height of the pandemic, Constantinople lost over 10,000 citizens daily. However, as fate would have it, the Byzantine Empire would fall to Sultan Mehmed, the conqueror, in 1453. Using massive bronze canyons, Mehmed breached the mighty walls of Constantinople and thereupon established a new rule. This marked the end of the empire's millennium-old battle to preserve the Roman legacy. Thank you for listening to this discussion about the rise of the Byzantine Empire. We hope you have enjoyed it and have learned something new. Like, share, and subscribe to the Liber-Tea channel for more exciting discussions on the Roman Empire. Feel free to comment below and tell us other interesting facts about the Byzantine Empire.